Welcome to Rock the Life, a podcast for fans by fans. I'm Katya.
I'm Amy.
So,
And it's the end of the year.
It's the end of the year. We have just gone through some of the holidays, and we were looking at what 2024 has meant for us. Wow, it's been a year.
Crazy. We did it.
We did it. And Amy, I'm going to have to say some of my best times of this year have been spent. I would have to say almost, I have loved our recordings that we've done, but I've had even as much fun or more fun doing our pre-production meetings, just getting on and talking and remembering and just opening up to new music too. Of like you saying like, hey, have you heard of this band? Have you heard of this band? Have you hearing about your shows and concerts that we talked about reconnecting to music and we're doing it.
We are. Like, I recently shared towards the end of the year, I'm kind of going back through previous podcasts and putting them on my stories with links. And I just hit Hollywood. And through part of that, we had a little segment on there where I was just like, can you believe we just did the things? And kind of as you grow up, you stop doing the things. And I was just commenting in that segment that I'm just so, like, I'm already teary. I'm so happy to be doing this with you, and just that we did it. Like, we didn't let, what are people going to think? We didn't let, oh my gosh, the biggest thing, I guess, was what are people going to think? You know what I mean? But we didn't let any of that. We just, we didn't care what people thought when we were teenagers and young 20s, so why should we care now, right?
And you know what? And actually, Amy, on one of those episodes, I do remember referencing back of talking about how I didn't want my picture taken with one of the bands as we got older, because I was like, what are people going to think? And I was like, what was I thinking? Who cares what people think? It only matters what we think in our experiences and living it.
Yep. I tell you, so when we first started this adventure, if you don't know, or if you haven't heard this part, and we shared it primarily on Jeremy's podcast, Hair Metal Rules, he asked the question, how did this come about? And essentially, it started with Def Leppard VIP ticket. And and reliving all of that. And as I was trying to write it down, I had holes, and I was like, Katya, what did we? And there were parts that I can't believe that I didn't have in the forefront of my memory, because they were the best parts of the story. And I just, at one point, I said to you, this makes me feel so good. Like, I've been missing this. I've been missing this spark in my life because I've gotten lost in the day-to-day and the responsibility. And it's like I'm going through and I'm doing this duty, but I haven't had this joy or this life. And I said, we can't be the only ones that feel this way. And, and sure enough, we're not. And we've gotten to speak to and made new friends. I mean, holy cow. All of our guests have been amazing. But I mean, I have to take that out. Hold on.
No, but no, it is. No, Amy, you don't have to take that out. I think, you are right. People have been amazing, and I've had so much fun reconnecting, not only with you, but like some of the guests that we had, and meeting them and hearing their stories, and just can't believe how many people like us are out there. And we'll go back and talk about Jeremy a bit too, because I know on his podcast he'll talk about, only if I could relive that time in the 80s and 90s and walking Sunset Strip. And I was like, he gets it. It was so exciting and such an amazing period of time. And I am just loving how the music has just kept going since the 80s and into the 90s. And
Yeah.
people's experiences in 2020 with the bands and loving it. And it's been amazing. Like just even going back to like the reincarnation of Skid Row under the different singers and hearing how the band is still impacting people so powerfully.
Yep. I just, another aspect of this is like, you know, we had Allison on the show. I got to meet Allison in Portland. We have a friend, and her episode hasn't aired yet. And we're talking about her coming from Florida to Portland for a show. Brenda, we're talking about, you know, going to Vegas. And to be honest with you, Katya, I'm hoping that we can combine like Brenda and Jen and get you out here and do it all together, like all at one thing. And that's another part of it. It's just like meeting and connecting. And it's like whenever we get our butts to M3 and Rockin' Pod, then we'll totally connect with Jeremy and his wife. And you know what I mean? It's just, there's this whole community, and I'm going to claim it as a Rock the Life community, but it's so much bigger and so much more than that. But I'm just so thankful for this year, and I'm encouraged for next year.
Oh, I can't wait.
Me either. I just can't wait. Obviously we know things we're not sharing at this particular moment, but I'm like, I can't wait. So you'll have to stay tuned because I'm sure it will leak pretty soon. But
Well, Aim, and
to all
I'm
of
going to
you,
say, and
yeah, go ahead.
I want to say another thing from talking about 2024 and what it's meant is we got to actually see each other in person again after a few decades. And I was heading back to California, and it was going to be a tough trip. It was going to be going home from one of the first times after my mom's funeral, and always tough to clean up and deal with things. And you're just like, I'm coming down. And it turned into like, ugh, this is where I'm going to get teary-eyed, like the best trip. And you know, with you, we were able to grab the photo albums and turned it into like laughter and laughing so hard and having us remember things that we did in the past, the connections. And then on top of that, we had the get together with the girls. And this was the group of friends that you introduced me to, that we all loved music and went out and hanging out with them all again. It was amazing, and meeting all their partners and, you know, some of the kids I got to meet for the first time. It was like, it has kept me smiling from ear to ear. Aww. And actually one of the next pictures I'm working on getting out there is all of us from that time, because it was so amazing.
Yeah, it was one of those I had mentioned, I think, in the George Lynch episode, the first one, where I was like, you know, he just seemed like the guy that I could have in my best friend's backyard, and he would just fit right in. And I remember looking at you, and I'm like, this is the backyard I was talking about. I'm like, do you feel this? This is what I mean. Do you feel how this feels? And it was, I loved being able to communicate, having you feel that, and having you be there and just hang out, and it was just, and so we haven't actually shared that whole story, but Katya's like, okay, so I'm gonna fly in, and it's gonna be like 9:00 at night, and I'm just gonna take Bart. And if you're in the Bay Area, and you know, Bart isn't what it used to be. So when she was like, oh, I'm just gonna take Bart, and I'm like, no, I'm coming down. I'll just plan my time, and I'll pick you up from the airport. And it was, so literally,
Wait,
you know.
But Amy, how long was that drive that you drove to the airport to get me?
About 7 hours-ish, maybe 8. You know, depending, because it was SFO, right? Yeah, so it was probably with traffic, you know, but it was so worth it. I was energized the whole way, and it was like getting out of the car and
And you know,
Miss
there's
you.
this meme that I saw that said something like, you know, someone loves you when they pick you up from the airport. And I was like, not only pick me up, but drive 7 hours to pick me up.
Across,
It was
across state
I
lines.
I was, as I was leaving Italy, I was telling everyone about this. I was like, my friend's going to come pick me up. We haven't seen each other. She is driving 7 hours. And they were all just like, what? I was like, oh,
What?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so awesome. And at this time, I felt so happy to be able to make a tough trip easier and to kind of walk in through that or walk with that through you. And I knew to kind of tuck away a couple of times and with family friends and all of that. And then I knew to pull you back in a couple of times just to be like, hey, it's okay. Um, but that was like the best weekend. And I'm sure we'll
That's
probably
great.
put some of the pictures here. We found some pictures, like one right behind you that I can see that we'd forgotten that we had with you and Janie. We actually
Yeah.
found some pictures like it for Hollywood. We're like, we don't have any pictures. So sorry. We do have pictures of Hollywood. We found our pictures of Simon and Peter from our Def Leppard
Def
adventures, which
Leppard.
I loved so much. Um, we found our Faster Pussycat pictures.
We
What
did.
else did we find?
We found some, I'm trying to think, ticket stubs or flyers of shows.
Mm-hmm,
I think
mm-hmm.
one of the things I had to laugh the most was what we found. We were looking for the tickets for one of our special shows in Reno. We both laughed that we'd actually seen Dawkins.
Yeah.
I was like, how did we, like, we both, like, usually one of us could fill the gaps in for each other on like some
Yeah.
of the holes, but that was a time period of life that was a little tough. Um, yeah, just yeah, some of the pictures. I think we might have to do a whole show on just like the Bay
I think
Area
so.
alone and some of the bands from the
Mm-hmm,
80s and 90s
mm-hmm,
that we saw.
mm-hmm.
That was amazing. I also found as we were going through the albums, not rock related, but one of my special stories was my all my David Beckham pictures in San Francisco.
Oh, gosh. Girl.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about that. I was like, you were out back and I'm flipping through these and I was like, what? What? No. And I was like, shit, Katya!
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
that one
you were
is
outside and I was like, what, what?
he also has a
Wow.
very special place in my heart. So those were
Can't
some of the
blame
and those,
you.
gosh, those were in the 2000s, I think. Do we
Hmm.
call those the naughty? What do we call the 00s these days? What do we call that? Naughties?
I don't even know. Do they have a name? I mean, should I go ask my tweens?
Yeah, go. If there's something you call like the zero, that like 2000 to 2009 period, I forgot the naughties.
Is over there? Well,
I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out what it was. Well,
I
my
feel like
life
the
wasn't
late
a
80s,
two.
90s was more than naughties for me, but
Naughties. I
okay.
know. I was like that 2000 to 2009 period was my like.
Yeah.
Okay, Aim. I was laughing today too. So I'm gonna go on these road trips, and the playlist I've been listening to is rock music from exactly the 00s, because
Mm-hmm.
that was a time period of my life where it was kids and work, and I missed out on so
Mm-hmm.
much music. And a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
bands, I was like, oh, I've seen them at festivals since then. Some of these like bands like Arctic Monkeys and Kings of Leon, and like they're great rock
Mm-hmm.
bands. But I had just we weren't focusing on these
Yeah,
bands
no, no. And
after
did
the
you know,
90s. So yeah,
yeah, I've been catching up on some of our favorite bands who released albums during that time. And I was like,
exactly.
oh, what? I didn't know this was an album. So that's kind of been cool. So I've been kind of doing that as well, you know,
The
and all
lost,
of that.
we'll just call it the lost decade.
Last
People can
year.
go, for
Yeah,
us,
yeah,
it's the lost decade.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, kind of.
And that's why
You
I
know,
was
it
like,
was really
oh, I had
funny.
David Beckham in my life. Forgot that.
Right? Forgot that. Oh gosh. Yeah, okay, I understand that. Um, what was it? It was really funny, speaking of like the naughties and going back a little bit. Jeremy was like when he was talking to us, he was like, you just sat in your car and you listened to music and you weren't getting in trouble. And I was like, I was getting in trouble. Not legal trouble, but I was
Might have stayed past curfew a few times.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'd like to say we only stayed past curfew because we didn't want to race home and we were being responsible driving the speed limit. Or I would say, no, truly, it was like you give all the excuses, but I was like, truly, it was because I'd be driving people home, right? And like, you would find
Oh
other
yeah,
people who
yeah.
needed rides, and I was like,
Yep, yep,
nobody
yep.
lived like super close to each other, but I always felt that I
Nope.
was like, I was responsible doing it.
Yep. We were just off adventuring and like yeah. I was always the one that didn't want it to end. So,
No, and I
you
can't say
know.
we weren't doing anything bad. We were always like
Mm-mm.
looking out for each other. Oh wait, never let anyone be on their own. And it was, yeah, no, I think that
Yeah.
was like a
Yeah,
lot of it
yeah.
was like watching out for everyone. It wasn't bad
Mhm.
trouble. So
Mhm.
I never got into trouble because I could definitely explain what I was doing. And yeah, I think it was good trouble.
It was good trouble. It was good trouble. But I digress. This year, this has been. I'm so glad that we're doing this. I'm really thankful and
Definitely.
impressed with the fact that we did it. Like, I can't tell you how many things that I've wanted to do, but I've just held back from, I don't know, it's always been that fear, you know. What if it sucks? Or what if it's terrible? Or what if people don't like it? Or what is somebody going to say? Or whatever. And I just really feel like we got over that. And I look at our first episode and I go, the story's great, but at that point, that's another thing I've really had to get over. I don't know about you. I've had to get over being so super self-critical because I looked at that
No,
first episode. I
absolutely.
hated it what I was wearing. I hated the angle of my computer. I hated my lighting. I was like, "Rawr." And that was one of the things that Jen, when she came on the show, she was like, "How do you not be so critical of yourself?" And I'm like, a switch flips, and you just don't look at yourself the same. And she was kind of like, as she got through it, and I told her we would have fun because she was really nervous. And girl, I'm calling her out now. She tried to back out, and I was like, nope, 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 you're
Nope,
doing
we're
it.
doing
Sorry,
this.
Charlie, can't back out. And then I looked at her. That's why I said to her on camera, I said, told you we'd have fun. And she was like, yeah, cutest yeah ever. And that was something else to that. This has been such a growth thing, I feel like.
I agree.
We've
No, I agree. And there's so many things that I think putting the podcast together too, like I everything to do with the emblem in the song that Clay created. I
yeah.
love them. Right? And like all of that
Mhm.
is just who we are and what we're doing. And it just even got me more excited to keep going and to,
I
yeah,
can see it. Yeah. He made me a big
it,
old poster. Look at this. I don't know. It's been
I
sitting
love
in the
it.
background this whole time. But it's like, there we
No,
go. Okay. There it is. Okay, so you have your hair color and my hair color, and in the reflection I can actually see you in my screen. You have the heart, and the hearts. You see you. You're right here, and you have the heart. Hearts are my favorite shape. Actually, my wedding ring is a heart, and so you have all the hearts, and of course the guitars for the music. So and the mic.
it's perfect.
So I mean, it really was thoughtful, and all of that when
Very thoughtful.
he did all of that.
No, so all of it has left me very something to look forward to for the year. And I've had as just fun listening to other people's podcasts about the bands
Yeah.
and just knowing what is out there in between. Again, Instagram's probably my favorite that I'm on the most. Facebook too. Different content on Facebook, but I really enjoy Facebook. I have not done the TikTok yet, but yeah, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and just podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts without seeing them, and I'm having so much fun knowing what's out there too. Just there's so much content out there to have fun with.
There is, and I'm gonna put this out there. It's a risk, but I am making it known. I'm throwing it out there, and I wish I had it here to show you. So 2025. Okay. I feel like 2024 was like the year of Def Leppard. Saw them numerous times, started a podcast kind of around, like our story is what kind of ignited that spark, not to quote Def Leppard, you know, the spark that, what is it? Let your light spark the dynamite. I don't know. I'm doing it wrong, but, this past weekend at my mom's, I was over helping her, and I just happened to look down shamefully on the floor of her garage. And I was like, what is that? And it's this little piece of paper. It's about this long. And on the back of it, it was just the back, it was upside down, and it said KMEL Jams. And for some reason I recognized it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a ticket stub. What is the ticket stub doing on the garage floor, my mom's garage floor? What the heck? So I pick it up and I turn it over. And it is my Firehouse ticket stub from the show at the Stone. If you haven't watched the Firehouse episode, should actually call it a Michael Foster episode. If you haven't watched the Firehouse episode, you have to do it, because this is the ticket stub for that last show and the last time that we really kind of saw them. And prior to finding this ticket stub, found out that they're going to be near where my oldest son lives in California around our birthday. So I'm officially declaring this year, 2025, I should say, as the Firehouse year. We'll see what happens, because I'll tell you. Go ahead.
No, how did that ticket stub even end up in your mom's garage?
I don't know.
Like, how did that even?
That's the weird thing, because she had back surgery. She's not in her garage. She's not going through boxes right now. I have no idea. It was just, and for me to find it right then and there, and the reason I'm putting it out there is because December whatever of 2023 is when we got the one show. We bought our tickets for San Francisco for Def Leppard. So for all of the year, we only had the one show planned. And it just blew up and turned into seeing them a total of 3 times, and just having, adventures kind of galore around that.
The year of Def Leppard, yes.
That was 2024. So 2025, the year of Firehouse. I have to say it.
Okay. Let me see your light, spark the dynamite.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's the line.
Yep. There we go. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to work on what we're going to do to make it the year of Firehouse.
I don't know.
Because, 2024, as we're looking back and looking at the musicians we've lost, we did lose CJ Snare this year.
Yeah, we did.
And so I think we've actually talked a lot, you and I have talked a lot about Firehouse this year.
And, the Rock the Life song, okay, so this part of the song isn't in the intro, but, and I think we've talked about it on another show, I mentioned it. In the second verse of the song, Rock on the Radio is mentioned. Rebel Yell, Billy Idol, Rock on the Radio, Firehouse. And every time I hear it, I just go, oh, I'm so glad it's in there. I'm so glad he put it in there. Clay did an amazing job with that song. So, Yeah,
So
here we are.
with that aim, I am so looking forward to many more episodes this year. I'm looking forward to meeting more people, connecting with more people, and for me,
Yes.
going to more shows.
Yep. Yep. We might switch places this year. We'll see how it goes.
You're right. It
I,
might be me.
I,
It might be me
yeah,
doing all the
but
singing and screaming.
right, right. Seriously. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so you guys, if you have enjoyed the show throughout the year and are just as excited as we are for more episodes, make sure that you like and subscribe. Get those notifications whenever we release a new episode. This one is not, of course, a full episode, but we just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
watching. Thank you for sending in your emails and reaching out and saying, I have a story to tell, because we wouldn't have the guests that we've had if it weren't for you doing that. And so keep the emails coming. We love them, love the stories. And, I'm going to tell you, currently I'm locked out of Facebook. So I'm not even going to give you the Facebook Rock the Life page because I can't even access it. On Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, we are Rock the Life Girl. Amy.rockthelife@outlook.com, and merch. Goodness gracious, we have an amazing logo. You gotta don the logo, right? RTLmerch.com for shirts, mugs, scarves.
Hats.
What else is there? Hats.
Hats.
Oh, yeah. All kinds of cool stuff. So check out the merch store, and as always, don't forget,
Don't forget, rock the
rock the
life.
life. Oh my
Oh, Aim,
gosh, woman.
you mean so much to me. Okay.
Same. I love you.
Okay. Love you too.
Bye.